Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Kendo, and we're here. We got Baby Kendo. I know that you guys love Baby Kendo. The format of this might change a little bit, but this is going to be Ask the Doc. And so, of course, when I say the format might change, it's because right now I'm in the process of moving. So we are actually going to be moving into a house. It's going to be crazy cool, and we're just going to go ahead and answer your questions right now. I'm going to have Baby Kendo here helping me out. And if you see some footage on screen, it's either going to be Scribblenauts Showdown stuff that's pre-recorded, or maybe some Scribblenauts Unlimited.
So, we should get started.
We should get started, yes. Thank you guys so much for your questions, by the way.
Let's get to it.
Okay, we're gonna try this for a little while. We might change up the camera angles as we keep going again. I think this is gonna change after I move into a new house, so we'll try it from here for now. Alright, and so this question basically is asking what console do you use, and so I presume that's of course with my recordings for the YouTube channel and the Scribblenauts series especially, and I play on the Wii U. You can also get the object editor on the PC version of the game. He's chewing on the mic cables. But I mean, I have like a ton of consoles. I mean, too many to list. Ask that if you want another question. It's just as far as the consoles that I own. Alright, so this question is a good one, and I feel like it was asked in several different ways, so I'm going to include a lot of you guys. There's going to be screenshots and everything. The way that we do this, we'll shout out to all of your channels by showing the comment as it was made on the YouTube channel here on the video. So let's get to this question. Basically, it's what inspired you to make YouTube videos about Scribblenauts Unlimited. Some people just ask, you know, what inspired you to create a channel, or why did you start YouTube? You know, so we'll start from there, and then we'll go to the Scribblenauts thing. So basically, when I was working a full-time job just out of college, you know, it was around 2011 or so, 2010 maybe even, that I was starting to get these ideas. I kind of, you know, it was on my radar. I knew about esports, and so my friend actually that was also working at that job, he was watching Husky StarCraft, and so Husky StarCraft was a StarCraft 2 commentator back in the days, and I guess StarCraft 1 probably, but so I actually began watching some of those because of my friend. At first I was thinking, you know, who would actually want to watch video games being talked about on YouTube and stuff like that? And then as I dove deeper into it, I guess, that's when I discovered what it was all about, and so I basically told myself, you know, this is a great way to combine everything that I love. I love voice acting, I love doing music, you know, I have all of my own music on my channel, and then I also just love video games, and so I was like, hey, this is a way to combine them all. I had no intentions that it was gonna get, you know, big ever. So certainly it was a big surprise, and I loved Mario Kart and Gauntlet Legends for the Nintendo 64, so those were kind of the games that I was commentating back then. Any OGs from the original Dr. Kendo channel know about that. So how did I find Scribblenauts Unlimited? Well, it was kind of an interesting story. It really just kind of happened because of, I would say, all of you. So when the Wii U came out in 2012, I basically wanted to just show off all of the games, and so I had a ton of games. I actually got Scribblenauts Unlimited. It was the one game that I got before the Wii U actually launched, because I ordered Scribblenauts Unlimited online. I had played all the other Scribblenauts games, and I was like, gotta try this one out since it's on the Wii U, and I knew the franchise pretty well. So then anyway, you know, you can actually still see the videos on my channel, of course, where I did Super Mario Bros. U, or I guess it's New Super Mario Bros. U, and we also did some of the other games, Nintendo Land and all that, but of course the one that kind of stood out with me was that, you know, people were saying you should create this, create that in Scribblenauts Unlimited, and it started out just kind of being like a living table or a cat with a piece of tape on it, you know, just like really simple things. And so in that regard, it was really cool that I just kind of had this idea very soon afterwards. As I was doing these episodes, I thought, you know, let's create a blue shell from Mario Kart, of course, one of my loves. And so once I made that blue shell episode, it just kind of, the rest almost happened on its own. And again, I have to thank you guys. So thank you so much, because it was you who continued to request actually known characters and known objects from video games, movies, TV shows, all of that good stuff. So thank you so much, and it's just been a joy and honor to do this channel and do that series. And actually, as a kid, it works out really well, because as a child, I used to love anything where you could mix and match. So I used to actually have these little cutouts of monsters, and I would take the head of one and then the arms of another and put them together, you know, in the body of this one, legs of that one and just mix and match. And then there was also a time that I broke a bunch of my Power Rangers toys. I had a bunch of the villains of the Power Rangers toys, and my dad saw that, you know, that I had broken them all. He was very upset. I was having fun. And so when I broke them, and after he was angry, he was basically then like, you know what, let's combine all the pieces of these toys, you know? So we actually took the various heads and arms and limbs of all of them and made a super Power Rangers monster. I wish that I still had it. I don't know what ever happened to that thing. Amazing. I'm guessing that you guys can see Baby Kendo here, but this next question is basically, who do you want in Super Smash Bros. When it comes out for the Nintendo Switch? I've actually been saying this character or characters since the Wii U days, and I thought it would be a really cool idea. This is not necessarily like my favorite video game characters by any stretch of the imagination. That's Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's already been in a lot of the Smash Brothers so far, so I was actually thinking it would be a really cool idea to have the Wonderful 101. So all of those heroes, you know, they would combine together. So like, for instance, they could have their forward special be the Unite Whip, or like their survival move could be like, you know, up special is the uppercut. Just their regular special attack could be the Unite gun, you know, where they turn into the green gun. But yeah, I thought that that could be a really cool character. Okay, so this question is asking, how do you know so many stamps in Scribblenauts Unlimited? I actually did show this off in a video before when we made King Dice from Cuphead, and so I feel like I should show those clips again, but essentially you want to think creatively and outside of the box as much as you can, and then you also, of course, want to spend as much time in Scribblenauts Unlimited as you can, and like look at every single thing in the story mode, you know, click or tap on every single little thing that you can touch in the story. I'd say other than that, we should show off my clips. I do show off a little technique, of course, other than just Googling, you know, but I show off basically a technique that you can use, so maybe we'll play that clip real quick. Whenever you're typing in stamps in this game, you can actually just type in gibberish, you know, so just press a whole bunch of buttons randomly. It could be like B, X, Y, R, W, Q, whatever, just like type a whole bunch of things randomly, and then the, if you're on the gamepad, of course, for Wii U, it'll give you the suggestions on there, but if you're on PC, on screen, you should basically see a screen that says, "Did you mean?" And it suggests for you a bunch of different stamps that you could use. You can spend a long time doing this because obviously Scribblenauts Unlimited has the dictionary at its disposal, you know, so there's a ton of words in this game, obviously, as you guys know if you play it at all. Hopefully you find some new stamps for your knowledge, and I hope that this small guide has helped you out a little bit. This is a pretty interesting question. Basically, how long does it take you to create your objects, you know, the whole process? And so for me, of course, it's gonna vary. This is an answer you guys aren't gonna like, I feel like, but it's basically gonna vary from character to character or object to object, you know. Certain ones take more time, like the Avengers. Some of them are complicated and then some of them are not. Like creating Black Widow was pretty simple. So in that regard, I feel like I could make Black Widow in like 15 minutes or whatever, or maybe 20 or 30 if I'm taking my sweet time. But generally, you know, I don't have a lot of spare time in my life. That's actually going to be a question coming up, but because I don't have a lot of time in my life just in general, I do actually need to move very quickly and kind of create these characters very quickly. So, you know, yeah, if I really don't know any of the stamps, it could certainly take an hour because I might be actually researching or experimenting with different stamps to like, trust me, I do put in some time, you know, I'm thinking like, okay, this looks good for the hair, but this part doesn't look good, so I might like swap that out, or I might compare and contrast two different things. Like if I'm creating eyes or teeth or something, I might use two different stamps and keep taking them away and putting them back on to see how they look with the overall picture. So certainly if that was to happen, it could take like an hour. So, but I would say that that's just the most extreme cases. You know, usually it's gonna be in that 15 to 30 minute range or whatever. Yeah, I hope that answers well enough. I really can't wait till I move, by the way, because I think everything behind me will look much better when I have my own office space. But let's move on. What creation are you most proud of? That's actually a very interesting question, and one that I don't think I've ever been asked before. I mean, some people have, of course, asked me what's your favorite creation, and that's changing all the time, but I actually really like the Omega Flowey creation. You know, that was a big creation. It took a lot. I'm also really proud of the somewhat recent Steven Universe, the Off Colors. Doing the Rutile twins, basically, that was really interesting because it was getting an entire separate head and torso. So I think a shorter response and more general would just be like any creation that really pushed the limits, you know, if it was something that you were just like, how the hell is he gonna create this, you know? And then I did it, that's what I'm most proud of. All right, so here's a question. Which game is better, Scribblenauts Unlimited or Scribblenauts Unmasked? And I feel like that's actually gonna be somewhat a matter of opinion for everybody out there, but for me, and especially my purposes on YouTube, Scribblenauts Unlimited is the superior game. I feel that Unlimited actually has a bit better in the story mode, believe it or not. You would think that the Unmasked would. Unmasked is better for having the superpowers, and of course it has a huge library of DC characters and objects and things like that, but Unlimited actually has fewer bugs, believe it or not. But mostly, to me, actually, this is actually a deal breaker too when I say this, but the interface of Unlimited is actually much better. So even just, you know, rotating objects or copying them, but specifically with like the plus and minus sign to increase their size or decrease the size of each stamp, Unlimited is actually better for that. And so again, this is going to vary based on user experience or your own personal bias or opinion thrown in there. I think this one's pretty interesting, basically asking, are you an artsy person or were you ever an artsy person? And I would say not like to any kind of extreme, but I'm capable of art. So I've always been more so just a creative person. That's kind of what my brain typically goes with as far as just my thought patterns and whatnot. I like to use creativity to solve my problems or to anything in life, I guess you could say, if I can't be creative and I can't feed that kind of creative side of me. So I suppose some people would say that's artsy. You know, I've been making my own music for over 10 years. I've now got a YouTube channel where it's, you know, basically creating art. I mean, some people, I guess, could argue Scribblenauts Unlimited being art or not, but I also actually have found out through the channel, honestly, I've thought, you know, that I couldn't draw on a computer, but I can actually draw using keyboard and mouse and whatnot, but I've always been able to draw decently well on pen to paper or pencil to paper, and I really want to get into painting, so if you guys actually wanted to see some painting content, I would love if I did kind of real-life paintings, so IRL paintings of characters that you guys love, you know, the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, the Undertale, maybe even Scribblenauts paintings, you know, just whatever. Alright, this is a great question to talk about, basically asking, what do I do when I'm not making Scribblenauts Unlimited videos? A lot of things, you guys. I do not even have a minute or a second free in my life to just, like, do whatever I want. I'm always taking care of somebody, it seems, or out doing some more work, or just something like that, you know, being with my wife, of course, because I'm married, I have 2 dogs, so I'm caring for them, Apple and Tui. I also have my baby, of course, my son. He is now 6 months old at the time of recording this, and so he's going through a lot. He's actually teething right now too, so he's kind of a handful at the moment. But I also care for my dad from time to time. He is elderly, but also ever since my mom died, his health just seems to be declining a bit. And every Sunday I'm eating dinner with my family. Now then every single Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday during the evenings I am on Twitch. Of course, that's twitch.tv/DrKendo. Not really family friendly over there, so just be warned if you are gonna go follow me over there. It's also Pokemon related content mostly, not so much the character creation stuff, so completely separate audiences really on Twitch. Other than that, you know, I'm with my wife, or I'm volunteering or working, or doing some music or voice acting for some kind of like internet project or anybody who needs it. I'm also a commissioned artist, so anybody that wants me to draw, for instance, like Twitch emotes or channel logos and things like that, you know, I'm drawing those. So I'm always hard at work, you know, and if I'm not, it's funny because when you say making Scribblenauts videos, you know, that's a huge portion of the work too, because it's a very multi-step process, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of work that goes into that. So my days are very, very full, and thank you for asking. Okay, so you guys know by now I am hardly brief. I always give things a very long answer and explain way too much. So we're actually gonna do the last questions as a lightning round. That means I'm gonna try to answer them quickly, shortly, and let's get to it. Will you ever play the Scribblenauts story mode? I feel like everybody who did YouTube videos about Scribblenauts played the story mode, and you guys can all play the story mode yourselves. You probably don't wanna see me do it. If you do, leave a comment, maybe. What is your favorite food? All right, that's a good one. I love pizza. Basically anything not not healthy for me. I love burgers and pizza. Do you plan to go to PAX South 2019? Yes, even though I am not sure if I'm going to be able to go to all the PAX Easts like I have been, I'm definitely going to be trying to make it to every single PAX South for the end of time. What is your favorite fruit? Oh god, that's always changing for me. I like bananas and apples and oranges. I think I'm really on a kick for oranges right now, so I'm probably gonna go oranges. What are your favorite 1980s movies? Okay, I can tell you that I really do not like E.T. I feel like a ton of people like E.T. It scares the hell out of me. I do not know why. I'm so afraid of E.T. for some reason, or I was when I was a kid. But as far as my favorites go, I love the Star Wars movies that came out in the 80s, and I feel like there's really too many to even list off all of them. I feel like I'm never gonna hear the end of it if I leave one out, but let's just try to go with Back to the Future, Gremlins, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I mentioned the Star Wars movies. I think Blues Brothers came out in the 80s. Seriously, there's a lot of them. Am I your best friend? If I'm not, can I be your best friend? Sure. What is your favorite show? Presumably that's TV show, of course. It's always changing, you know, just where I am with life, but back in the days, I always loved the Pokemon anime, so I actually recently got to see a few episodes of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, and I love that. But as far as shows, somewhat more recently, well, actually, Modern Family, I've liked that it's now been out for kind of a long time, actually. Love Modern Family, and I like Once Upon a Time as well, so we'll say those shows. But alright, hopefully that was good for the lightning round and the first ever Ask the Doc episode. Thank you guys so much for asking the questions. It's just been awesome. So I tried to get to as many questions as I could. There certainly is a possibility that I did not get to answer all of them that came through. I'm going to be saving all of them, and I hope to just answer as many as I can. You know, in the future, we're going to try to do more of these, unless you guys really don't like these. So every single month, the last Sunday of the month, that's when we're going to try to do these, and I will catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
All the days when subscribers fly, I just pray you won't pass me by. All the days we're just dragging by.